are probably watching because you want to know how to make your own riding skirt. In my blog I refer to the pattern of this skirt that I'm going to show you here as model 2. And it's the same model that Hannah Engström explains in her video. Only if you are a bit bigger than having a waistband of 65 centimeters, or you are a little taller than having a length of about 1 meter of your skirt, then you're not going to fit your pattern on the fabric as she explains it. So I'm going to show you how to make your own pattern for yourself that fits you, and from there how to measure how much fabric you need. So first, what you need to do when you make your pattern for model 2 skirt is fold it like this in an angle of 45 degrees, like you see here. This is a 45-degree angle over there, and then in the calculations that Hannah uses and I also use in my blog, I'm going to show you. I wrote it down because I don't want to memorize everything when I'm also trying to film. It's 65 centimeters that we take in account. That's the green lines is the model that skirt that Hannah explained. So it's 65 centimeters of waist and a meter length from the waist to your ankle bone. And that's this length. But this length first, because how, when you fold the paper, how do you know where to put this line? Well, that's a good question. I'm going to explain that to you. You take the 65 centimeters, you divide it by 2, then you have 32.50 centimeters. On top of that, you add another 30 centimeters for a split on the front and the back with an overlay of 15 centimeters each. So that gets you to 62.5 centimeters. You divide that in 2 because we this pattern is the half of this, it's a quarter, so that's why you divide it in 2 twice, because we're making the pattern as a quarter of the whole skirt. That ends you up with 31.25 centimeters. If you want to measure, you can of course use your measuring tape and just go figure out where 25 centimeters is approximately on the paper. But if you really want to know it more precisely, you actually can use this formula, and that's that you take into account that 31.25 centimeters is a quarter of the whole waist of the skirt that you need to make. So you all the extra fabric and splits and overlay for the splits you take as one circle, and then you say 31.25 times 4, because we're making a quarter here, times 4 is 125 centimeters. And if I want to know the radius, then I have to divide that by p. And you say, whoa, that's not true, that's 2 times p. Yes, but we're making a half circle skirt, so it's divided by p. So it's 125 divided by p. P is 3.14. You can just forget about all the extra numbers behind the comma. Just 125 divided by 3.14 is, I calculated that, 39.80. And that's how you measure. So you measure from here Well, you measure from this corner here to here, 39.80. You do that on this side too, 39.80, and you do that a couple times in the middle. Just turn it around, and then you draft a nice round line, and that's your waistline. From here, you measure the length of your skirt, and if you haven't read my blog yet, the length of your skirt is your waistband till your ankle bone. So like this. Well, you do that standing, but I can't show that on the video now. You measure that, and that's in this calculation I used 1 meter from the waistband to the bottom of the skirt, and that's your pattern on the paper. However, if you cut it in the fabric, you need to take into account that some fabrics need a seam, so you need to take a little extra, however big you like the seam, also on the top, by the way. And you can use this as the fabric fold. You also fold the fabric in this way and then put this pattern on top of it. That's the easiest way to do it in Hannah's explanation. However, if you're like me and your waist is not 65 centimeters but a bit bigger, you're very likely to end up with too little fabric if you do it in this way. You see here the yellow line that I drew here? That is 1.50 meters from this angle. So if I would fold the fabric like I folded the paper, the fabric is 150 wide in general. This paper isn't, that's why we ended up here and not there. But that's 1.50 meters, that yellow line. You see that I made my own pattern and my skirt goes over that line. So the fabric is not big enough for me to fold it in this way. So I have to position my pattern different on the fabric, which also means that I'm going to need way more fabric. How did I measure myself? My waist is 88 centimeters, and from my waist to my ankle bone is 1.10 meters. So I did the same. 88 divided by 2 is 44. 44 plus the 30 centimeters for the overlay on the split, front and back, is 74 centimeters. So 74 divided by 2, because this is a quarter of the pattern, is 37 centimeters. Well, then this is approximately 37 centimeters, as you can see, 37. But how do I get here? How do I know where to put this line exactly? Now, well, then we do 37 times 4 is 148 again. So the total circle of your waist with all the extra fabric for overlay and stuff is 148 centimeters divided by P. P is 3.14, so 100 divided by 3.14, you get to 47.13. And if you measure from here to here, it's 47.10, yeah, approximately, because you can't measure that precisely with a measuring tape, and that's okay. So this is where I end up. And if I measure from my waistline, this blue line, to this blue line, you see that I even need to put some extra, because it's 1.10 meters, I need to put some extra paper here. I need to fix some paper onto here to fix the whole pattern. Well, you measure all the way around like you did with the other. That's 1.10 meters, 1.10 meters, everything. And then you see I go out of the 1.50 meters line. So I need to position my skirt differently on the fabric. If you have any questions, please go to my blog and put some questions in the comments. I'm very happy to help you out and to help you fix your own pattern. Thank you. So, in the meantime, my battery of the camera died. So, I got myself a cup of coffee and cut up the pattern for my size. I'll show you. I cut this part off. I taped a little part here, a little extra, because I needed this corner, didn't fit in the paper. So I cut this part off and I cut off this fold. So what we have left is the actual pattern. Because my pattern does not fit on the fabric, I need to cut 2 parts more. So normally you would cut, you would fold the fabric and then cut 1 part for each side. So you have a skirt divided in 2 parts. But because I can't fold the fabric to match my pattern, I have to cut 4 pieces and then attach them on one side. I will explain that further in the blog. So you just sew 2 of these pieces together, and you do have to take a seam in account, which you would not have to take in account for this side if you were using the fabric fold, but since you're not doing that, you need to take the seam in account. So just a heads up.